次の、スピーチがスージーの、インターネットの歴史からを振り返りながら、マスクネットワークを紹介するっていうものになりますので、切り替えまで少々お待ちください。
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Web3 Conference Tokyo. I'm here, Suji. I'm founder and CEO of MaskNetwork. MaskNetwork is also the host of this Web3 Web3 Conference Tokyo. We're doing the bridge between the Web2 and Web3. Especially, we are working with the existing Web2 platforms to build on top of it. So today, I would like to share my thoughts about the internet itself, its past, present, and the future, especially the future, that how it's going to connect it to the great dream, the ideology of the Web3, and why it is very important to not only this industry, but also to the whole humanity. So let's talk about the history of the internet. So we all know that the internet itself, gradually become the same from 1970s, 1980s, when it's still quite experimental network from the ARPA or DARPA, which is halfly military usage, halfly for civil usage. But right after 1994, 1995, we see IPO of the legendary web browser Netscape, and there's many other technology around it. The Web 1.0, and more specifically, World Wide Web, become the most important part of the internet. And then we see invention of the smartphone and the user interactive technology, such as blogs, such as video content, such as website like YouTube. The Web 2.0 came to the stage. That also take around 10 years, but it evolved very fast. Within 10 years, this thing become one of the most fundamental things we've experienced in this century. That everyone got a mobile phone, everyone was involved into the Web 2.0 platform. Now we have this buzzword. Around 2014, when the Ethereum Foundation Ethereum founder and the first CTO, Gavin Wood, and then later on the other Ethereum founder, including Vitalik Buterin, when they coined the terminology Web 2.0 in this modern perspective, what is the Web 2.0 refer to, right? What's the difference and why it is important? So let's talk about what is Web 2.0 and why it is important. So when we compare the Web 2.0 and Web 3.0, there's many difference. Even though from the user perspective, it's pretty much the similar case. And I'd even argue that the Web 3.0 user experience is pretty bad right now. The main difference is, there's many buzzword, like you can say, hey, it's censorship resistant, it's serverless, it's never going to go down, it's beyond the nation state, etc., etc. But I want to use two words to describe the fundamental difference between the Web 2.0 and Web 3.0. So I will say Web 2.0 is feudalism. It is the feudalism like the medieval feudalism we've learned from the history book, that there's king, there's kingdom, there's war garden, there's castle, and each king controlled its own kingdom. And the laborers, the users in that kingdom, they learn and they follow that king, they obey that king. And they're not allowed to migrate or move or their data asset, they migrate their own family freely and easily. And it's the digital version, it's the cyber version of the feudalism. And we can argue that Mark Zuckerberg, his power already superseding many nation states because he is the cyber king of 2 billion people, MAU, monthly active user, all over the world. On the other side, Web 3.0, even it is very early. I would describe it as the early capitalism. It's the early capitalism and the early capitalism society, and has many features like we learned from the history book of the early American society, or the early the Great British Empire, and many similarity like that. Compare that, right? So the Web 3.0, when we think about what's happening right now, First, we see the cross-border payment. We see the migration-free infrastructure of the data of the user asset. That is, pretty much close to the early version of the capitalism. And I wanted to remind everyone that the terminology war garden that is used widely in the Web 2.0 to describe the mobile application or the platform that stop you to migrate, stop you to move around your asset and data. This is a typical comparison to the historical version of the medieval feudalism, that there's actually a word castle, run by kingdoms, run by kings. So, and then the problem of Web 3.0 today, the reason that this stay as a buzzword, not really something really happened, is because the difficulty of migration and difficulty of converting people from the Web 2.0 to the Web 3.0. Based on my argument, based on my point earlier, that this Web 2.0 is the feudalism society in the cyber world, and there's a new capitalism society over there. Why people don't want to migrate? The reason is very simple. The cost is too high, and it's despised by the old mainstream ideology, the mainstream sauce. So here's two examples that is not really fully Web 3.0, but use decentralized technology is regarded as pretty cool product. The left one is Telegram, created by Dura brothers, and it is one of successful instant messengers can compare with WeChat or WhatsApp, these monopolized platform-controlled infrastructures. And transferring our social connection from no matter Facebook to whatever new platform, no matter it's centralized or decentralized, it is very painful. The cost is very high. Even though you have this power, you cannot really do that easily. And unfortunately, Telegram do not provide you more efficiency or more benefits that you want to transfer these connections in social graph or these digital assets. So the cost is too high. That's one problem. And another problem, when we think about the Tor, the onion network, which is also described as the dark web, as the deep web, people always think about the criminals. People always think about the dark side of the internet. People always think about these bad things, bad stories they read on the paper that Ross from Silk Road, these bad stories. The mainstream still despise these hardcore servers, these hardcore technologies, these hardcore Web 3.0 or early decentralized world. And I have to admit that we have to admit that just like the early capitalism society, the criminals and those wrongdoers, they're the first one to move and adopt these technologies. So that's the thing I've learned from the past before I started MaskNetwork. So what's the thing we're gonna do to not only us, but the whole industry around the Ethereum, around the Web 3.0 technology providers? What they're going to do to solve this problem? I think the best way is to enjoy the Web 3.0. Let the user enjoy the Web 3.0, the freedom of the internet and freedom of your capital, of your asset, on top of the existing Web 2.0 platforms, the internet giant platforms. It's not really like migrating, it's like upgrading. You stay on Twitter, you stay on Facebook, while you simultaneously have the Web 3.0 power. Simultaneously upgrade yourself from a slave to a more than digital citizen, a cyber citizen, a Siberian, right? But that's something we believe is going to happen. Just like the French Revolution or any revolution happened in the history, like the revolution happened in Japan as well. You're not really leaving this place. You're reforming it. You're upgrading. You're just throwing up revolution in this place. What we're going to do. So here's a very fun poster we made to convey the ideology, convey the idea of the mask. So we're not saying, hey, we're just leave you guys alone and we create a new world. No, we're gonna do something over top. No matter you're Amazon, Facebook, Google, Apple, for now, most likely social network is the first target. We're gonna be something over top. So we're gonna make big companies our infrastructure and use the other Web3 technology become our lines. What I mean? So first, with the MaskNetwork, you can able to, for example, send encrypted message. You can able to send token. You can able to send whatever you want the Web3 content over top existing platform. Here, the example is Twitter. So you can do that amazingly without being censored by Twitter or any other nation state regulator. And here's one example that I'm sending a message to Brave guys, the browser guys, to say hello to them. It's very cool. And with the MaskNetwork, you can decrypt my content. This is another example integrated with the MaskNetwork provided by the RV, Filecoin, and also Mason Network. RV, Filecoin are both famous decentralized storage technology. So with this decentralized storage file, it can be censorship resistant. You can send file and then send it over using MaskNetwork on Twitter, on Facebook, even on Instagram later on, or even Reddit later on. And again, this is beyond the control of any platform or any centralized regulatory framework. And Mason is a CDN platform we invest. It's doing pretty well that we can integrate. And not only that, you can also transfer money without worrying about the sanction list or KYC/ML that is imposed on you based on the monopolized platform or based on the imperialism countries. Here is the example that we are partnership with Gitcoin. So you can just donate on Gitcoin. By the way, on left side is Twitter. It's a tweet. And you can donate on Twitter on use Gitcoin and using Ethereum. You can donate some ETH. Again, this is censorship resistant. There's no way to censor it easily. Yeah. There's another example. Instead of just donate, you can give out, right? And I believe you've seen Vitalik's opening speech early this day. He's testing 1, 2, 3 of sending Lunar New Year red packet lucky drop 2 years ago, 2020, and it's very fun. People really love to see that you have like some random drop on Twitter. Again, fully decentralized, there's no way to censor or easily more than that. And people can just claim the money no matter you're from Japan, you're from Korea, you're from Iran, you're from every country of the world. You can do that. And we're just one of the provider of the technology. We don't provide the transaction. Transaction is based on the Ethereum. We just provide some source code, and these code are reprogrammed by other programmer and eventually form something like this, very interestingly. And I believe this can be a great example of what MaskNetwork can do by partnering with existing stablecoin and public chain. So here's another example of multi-chain. You can claim the red pocket, send money on the Binance Smart Chain, BSC, and Polygon, or there's many other layer 2 around there, Arbitrum, XI, etc. Solana, Near, Flow. We partner with all of these, and they're either in a way of integration or being already integrated on Twitter and Facebook and all other platforms we support. And here's the NFT, right? Because if you can send over fungible token as money, you can also send NFT as a way to trade art and trade, send art to your best friend. So here's the NFT drops. You can really drop NFT to other people's Twitter account. And then here's the Web3 tab. You can even, bring those Web3 technology and Web3 content on the existing platform like Twitter. On the left side is the MaskNetwork Twitter account. Check out @RealMaskNetwork, and you can check out the MaskNetwork Web3 content, our NFTs. And on the other side, there's the Constitutional DAO. Constitutional DAO is the initiator of People. And you all know that People is one of the great DAO that try to acquire the Constitution, U.S. Constitution, and attend the auction. Even they failed, is still great achievement. And here's the Constitutional DAO content on Twitter. So here's the Web3 tab. Hope you like it. You can have your metaverse pull-up, metaverse event footprint on top of Twitter, which is Web 2, but it's fine. You're migrating to and upgrading to Web 3 now, right? So here's another thing we've done, move ahead of Twitter. By the way, Max is also the early founding member of the Blue Sky community. Blue Sky is the decentralized protocol initiator, funded by Twitter founder Jet Dorsey in 2091, and we are one of the members. So we have this cool thing, cool idea of change your PFP on Twitter. I believe you already know that Twitter has their own version. It's really cool. But our version is gonna largely decentralized and not only support Ethereum, but also many other chains. And let's keep in touch. So again, in my opinion, I think the Web 3.0 is gonna change the world, just like how capitalism have changed the world, how capitalism changed Europe and the rest of the world, and feudalism as an old-fashioned dead social norm was pretty much killed by this revolution. Today, in the cyberspace, this is a great revolution happening. This great revolution should take place in everywhere in the world, including Japan, including Tokyo. And I hope everyone enjoyed my speech. And feel free to reach me online. Thank you. See ya.
はい、